Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Courant. I'm a junior, and I've been quarantined since the 6th until the 19th of November.
My name is Kate Hunter. I'm a features editor for the Courant, and my quarantine started the 6th and it will end on the 19th of November.
I'm Imogen Rawlings. I'm also features editor. I'm a junior. I was quarantined the 6th and I get out the 19th.
I'm Caroline Vincent. I'm the news editor, and I'm not technically in quarantine, but my parents made me and my siblings start staying home the 9th until TBD.
I'm Abigail Cushman. I'm the Centerfold / Special Projects editor, and I've been quarantining from the 10th, and I'll be quarantined until the 16th of November. Yeah. How have your quarantines been, you guys? I think all of us have been definitely quarantining for different amounts of time and under different circumstances.
I think I've just been like itching to get outside of the house, like everyone is, I'm sure. But it's weird because I feel like I haven't really been quarantined like this like since March, April, May, like that time. I feel like even in the summer it got a little more relaxed. And so it's kind of like a shock just to be stuck back in the house.
No, yeah, definitely. Like I'm just like I want to or like this morning I wanted to go get a sandwich from like Tony's and I was like I can't go inside Tony, like I was like, well, where can I go? It's like a drive through. Like where can I go that I can have a mask on in my car? Like that kind of thing. Like you can't you're really just confined to your house, which is so weird because like you said, we haven't really lived like this and I think it's been like 5 or 6 months.
And even then, when we were quarantined, school was so different. Like, I think school was a lot more free. Like, we weren't having classes at designated times, whereas now we always have to be on Zoom at whatever time. So you have to be a little more strict with what you're doing while you're in quarantine, but it's still weird to be in quarantine. So it's like still quarantining, but different.
Yeah, and I think although like I can still go and see my friends and stuff, like speaking for the people who are in quarantine, I think it's probably especially harder now because like in March and in April, everyone was in quarantine, so nobody was seeing their friends and getting to be social. But now it's like one third of people are in quarantine and everyone else is allowed to like have what's considered like normal life now, even though it's not normal. So I think that that's definitely especially like harder.
No, yeah, definitely. Because like I'm getting texts from people at like my swim practice, like this is what we did today, and like it just and like this week's Spirit Week in school, and like the people that are quarantined, like I feel like I'm missing out on so much. Like I don't know about the rest of you, but like for like every night at 5:30, my friend texts me like this is what we did today at swimming. I'm just like, oh, like I wish I could have been there. Like I wish I could like be a part of that. Or, like yesterday, people were posting on Instagram like their like 70s costumes, and like it just kind of stinks. Like we're missing out because we were contact traced or we had the virus.
I feel the same way. Like this week, Lauren and I missed our cross country bonfire banquet. And it got to the point where I wrote a speech for my friend and I was supposed to deliver it at the banquet. And I had to call in. And I think one of my friends put me on the speaker and I gave my speech like on a speaker. And it was the weirdest experience. But I don't know. I guess at least I got to see like have some of the experience that I missed. But it's been weird.
I think it was particularly hard missing Spirit Week this week just because like you see so much of it on social media and like I had bought all these fun outfits and like we had 70s day and I think today's actually red and black day and I feel like it's just like the one week of school that's always the most fun and so to miss out on that is kind of super disappointing.
I think especially because like you take all those pictures and you look back on that, and then now you just don't have that for junior year and well sophomore year, and that like just kind of sucks.
Yeah. And one thing I'm finding like is so much harder to be online when everyone else is in school. Like, yes, like the whole like FOMO and missing out and everything, but just like in my classes, some of my classes, I'm the only person online. And that's super hard because it's like you just don't get the equal amount of attention or the equal amount of learning material from the teacher because you're not their priority for obvious reasons. But then like some of my classes, half the class is online, and it's a lot easier then because you feel like there's people you can like ask questions over the chat too. And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And like being at home, like at least now I feel like the numbers have grown enough that I'm not the only one in any of my classes, but it still I just feel so isolated. Like you said, like asking questions is so much harder. Like I don't want to be the kid on Zoom that asks questions every 3 minutes because it's hard to learn at home. It's hard to do, especially for math and science. Like those two classes I really like, I sit in the front row and I like to like write down everything the teachers are writing down. And I think it's hard to be over screen and try to virtually comprehend what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think too, like it's really hard because a lot of like obviously you're learning in school, but a lot of it like with the in-person interaction, like it's about being social and talking to your teachers. So like while that's going on in class, you're kind of just sitting there on Zoom. And like in journalism, like it's nice because we all have each other, so it's not necessarily like you're the only one and you're watching like everyone else have a conversation. But when there's only like two people in your class who are quarantined, it's kind of like you're just sitting there waiting to get work, and it doesn't feel as productive as it did in the spring where it was asynchronous and you like knew I have to do this math packet today and that's it. But now like we have to sit through all like the whole entire class even though you're not necessarily learning the whole class, so it like makes you feel like you're wasting your time almost.
Totally. And I've also been in situations where I've had teachers that are like, they have a camera on maybe their desk or their computer, and then we can't see the actual board because they're supposedly not using the board or the board is shared with us. But then the teacher will walk over to the board and point at something on the board, but we can't see the board. We can just see the screen that they're sharing with us. So from Zoom, it's just little things like that I really didn't realize how much I needed in person or just in general, and I don't get because I'm on Zoom. Like it's just little pieces of the explanation that you miss because you're not watching it in person. That makes it so difficult, I think, for me at least.
Yeah, I feel the same way. There's one of my classes where it's just two people online. It's like me and this other person. And I remember like halfway through the class period, like the teacher was giving her lesson. And I was very confused because she kept referring to things that like I couldn't see the classroom and I could only see like a wall. And so I was very confused because she was referring to things that I couldn't see. And then halfway through the class period, the other person on the Zoom was like, like, hey teacher, I can't see this stuff. And halfway through, we realized that she had been writing like an entire like document that we couldn't see. So it's just kind of like those kinds of things where it's just hard to communicate between like the teacher when you're online and on Zoom. It's just a weird experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know about I know especially with Lauren and Imogen, you guys had like I feel like at least for me too, I've had like structure. Like I'm school, swimming, homework. Like that's just how my day goes. And I think going hybrid and even now like fully remote, it just like I can't swim. I can't go to school. Like you like lose that like motivation. I feel like going from one thing to the next, it like makes me motivated, makes me want to work hard. And like Lauren said this before, it feels optional. Like studying feels optional because you're not a part of the environment that everyone else is a part of.
Yeah, and I feel like especially because I know a lot of us we are in like harder classes, and I know like the workload has been a lot this year, like a lot more than sophomore year, and so it's been a lot more stressful. But like staying home this week, I just feel like I have so much more time, and it's just been a lot, which I guess is a benefit of all this. Like it's a lot less stressful because you have like you're at home the whole time, like you don't have that driving time and you don't have like the break time at school where you're kind of just sitting there. Like you have more time to get your work done. And so I've like enjoyed that part because I feel like everything like prior to this week was just go, go, go. And I was like running on stress to get my work done. But like Kate was saying, like now everything just seems optional because you have all this time and you're like, well, like normally I would be like spending hours and hours on my homework right now, but I have like 10 hours free tomorrow. I can just do it then and like sit on my phone today.
Yeah, one thing I found particularly difficult is I feel like I have too much time because I'm someone who like I like to feel like I'm constantly being productive, which I totally feel like I'm not doing in quarantine. Like, yes, I'm doing my work and I'm doing the classwork that I'd be doing if I were in class anyway, but I still feel like I'm piling things up on me that'll be like, oh, I'll just do them when I'm out of quarantine because it'll be easier. And I don't like having like that work sitting in the back of my mind, but like there's certain things I can't do because I'm in quarantine. Like in this class, I have to work on the layouts, but I can't do that because I'm home. But I just feel like it's a lot of like pushing stuff back until I have the opportunity to be out of quarantine to do it.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think I dance in New York. Like I dance in another state. So that for hours each day, so that takes up huge chunks of my time. But in quarantine, because of quarantine, I can't dance. So now I just have these huge free afternoons, and you'd think I would be like, "Oh my gosh, all this time like I can be really productive, like great." But I think almost because I have so much free time, it's easier for me to put things off, and then I'm not being as effective with the time that I'm given because it's such a foreign concept to me having like just these huge afternoons where I just can do anything. And I literally don't know what to do. Like I know there are things I should be doing, but it's almost overwhelming. It's like a lot of free time. You can't leave the house. It's definitely hard to structure and motivate yourself, like you guys were saying, when it's just and you don't have any obligations because you're not allowed to be anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And like, particularly for me, I mean, because I'm used to running, I don't know, 35 miles a week, I run 6 days a week. And just because I can't do that, it's been really hard because that's something that's usually like, in terms like an outlet for me, like it forces me to get outside and it forces me to like do something and it gives me like structure. And when I'm running, it's not just like a 30-minute run. Like it's a 30-minute run, but then I have to shower when I get home and I have to stretch and I have to do all this stuff that like revolves around it that takes up my time. And now that I'm not doing that, like it's literally like eating out at me. Like I just want to go out and like run and like do something, but I can't. And I mean, I have a Peloton bike. I know a few of you guys do too. And it's like good, but it's just not the same when you're inside. Like,
It's
I don't know.
I went to well, because I'm not quarantined, so I can still like go places. Um, but I went to my friend's house yesterday and I used her Peloton, and it's like I used to use their Peloton a lot, but then I just stopped because I like running outside more because it's so much nicer like to just go on runs, and it's just like not the same to Peloton. So yeah.
Mhm.
I also have a Peloton, and there's been like the past 2 days, not today, obviously, where the weather has been so nice, and I like hear like I can see like my friends like just like going on like a run or like going on this or that, and I want to join them so bad, and it's been so hard, but I mean it came at a time where Lauren and I were both supposed to take a break from running anyways, so it was like good timing in that sense, but I feel like not being able to get outside or even like see your friends, like for any of us, I just feel less productive even though I have less time like when I go out to see friends and go out to go on a run. I don't know, it's just been like I feel less productive now that I don't do that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. And like when I swim with Chelsea Pearson, so that's like 25 minutes each way. I swim for 2 hours a day, 6 times a week. Fridays I normally swim in the morning before school, and I'm getting like I do the Peloton for 45 minutes a day. But I'm getting every like that takes an hour. Just give you like that's 2 hours. It's a 2 hour time gap really that I have 2 extra hours every afternoon. But it's just like I'm getting everything done and just getting it done so early that I feel like I'm not doing enough, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
being lazy because I'm finishing early, but I'm doing everything I would have done anyway.
I don't think there wasn't like a single time this year where I would finish my homework and like watch a TV show before I went to bed. And I feel like I would do that a lot last year. And then this week, like I started Laura knows, I started like rewatching The Crown, and like I'm almost done with the first season, which is so concerning because if you like asked me last week, I would be like, there's no way I would have that much time. And like to watch TV. And like last night I watched like 3 hours of TV, which is insane to even think about because like last week on Thursday night, like I was freaking out about the amount of homework that I had, and like I stayed up till midnight, trying to like get it all done, and now there's just so much time.
I have this rule set with myself that like during the school year I can't start a new TV show and I can't start a new book series because I'm the type of person who like if I start a TV series like it's going to be done within like 3 weeks and like every chance
Same.
I have to watch TV, like whether it's like a 5 minute like mask break, I'm watching TV. Like it's like all or nothing. So I only let myself watch TV shows in the summer and like over Christmas break. And I've already started a book series and read the first 3 books. And I've watched a movie every night and I just started a new TV show yesterday. Because I just like don't know what to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing. Just like, oh my gosh, literally, I'm the exact same in the exact same place as Caroline and Lauren. Like, I literally last week could not have imagined being able to do anything other than school and dance. And now, like, TV every night,
Yeah.
sometimes 3 hours. It's crazy.
Like, because last year I started like watching a TV show during the school year, and it was not good because I would stay up so late watching it because it's just like I would want to watch it, but I wouldn't have time to watch it, so I would like make time by not sleeping. And I was like stressed out because all like last week because all the TV shows are like coming back onto air this week and like they're premiering. I was like, oh, like I wish I would be able to watch them, but there's no time. And now there is like last night I watched so many of like the TV shows because they all like came back from their like little breaks, and I was like, oh my God, like that's like one good thing I could watch all the premieres.
I have like a serious problem with that kind of stuff because if I like start, I think I'm the same way as like you guys. If I start a book series or a TV series, like I have to finish it. Like I can't just like I don't know. I can't like watch one episode like every night or something or like space it out like one episode a week or something. Like no, that's just not how it works.
I finished like all 16 seasons of Grey's. It was like I started at mid-August last year and I was done by November, which is
Oh my
like,
gosh, me too.
yeah. Did you watch it last night?
Yes, last night.
Ending?
Oh my gosh, best show ever. So addictive though. Like I can't even.
So it was 3 hours long last night.
Was it really? Like I literally that is time I would not have had last week.
And I'm so happy that I was able to watch that.
I know, me too. It's just I think it's also like I know I love that show, but I think it's also like a reflection of how schools, teachers, maybe they don't understand, or maybe they understand, but they don't really do anything about how much students are doing outside of school. Because I think we're in school for the same amount of time, and we have so much more time to do what we'd like because we can't do activities. So if that's the case, I think it's just a reflection of how the school doesn't really structure work outside of the school in a way that accommodates other things students are doing. And obviously it's a student's responsibility to be on top of their own schedule and like handle that. But I think the school could be a little bit better about how we are receiving work, because clearly there's a huge amount of work being done outside of school and now we have all this time to do it, but we usually don't have that time.
Yeah, and I think that like everyone should be able to like watch a TV show at night and do their homework and go to a sport and have like just time to sit down. Like that should be normal. Like it shouldn't be a crazy thing to us that we were able to watch TV last night before bed. Like that should just be something that's normal. So I think that kind of shows like what you were saying, Abigail, like the amount of work that we're given on top of all the tests and the quizzes that you have to then study for. It's like insane because you don't have any time to be like have free time, and that speaks a lot. Like, and you can see it in the numbers of teens like with stress and with mental health disorders that like we're given way too much work.
I've actually found the opposite this year. I found that the homework I've been given this year is actually really reasonable to me, and I credit that all to block scheduling. I don't know why. I was expecting to hate block scheduling, but it's like my new favorite thing because my schedule is laid out where every other day I have a really easy day. So like on a day, I'll have 4 hard classes, which are history, French, science, and math, which is really difficult. But then the following day, all I have is journalism and English. So it's kind of like I have 2 days to do my homework because I'm not getting journalism homework. And if I get English homework, it's relatively light. So I feel like in terms of homework, like I really haven't had as much this year as I had last year. And I think it's because the hour and a half periods just allow you to do so much more work.
I feel like I just had a lot more testing because it is like block periods, and it's just been a lot. Like, I feel like maybe the homework, I do feel like I have more homework than last year, but I feel like the testing is like a lot more, like tests every single week because the class periods are so long. So I found it hard with the amount of studying that I've had to do.
I feel like, I don't know, I think that I have more homework than last year, but I think like it's my own fault when I'm like stressed about it, because oftentimes teachers will give like a homework assignment, like notes for like history notes, for example. Everyone knows like the history notes, they give it to you like, I don't know, like they give you like 4 days or like even a week to do like history notes. And I always do them like and the night before or 2 nights before and get all stressed about it. And it's the same with like, I don't know, like some classes they give you like assignments and they'll give you like 5 days notice. And it's always like 2 days or a day before that I like sit down and actually do it. And I don't know if that's just like the most effective way that I do stuff. I don't think it is. I think it's just bad habit. But I think I credit most of the stress to that. Is just I'm the most productive when there's a deadline kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge procrastinator. Like I never really have been. That's just like not the way I do stuff because I hate having it sitting in the back of my mind. So like when I get assigned history notes, like I have the first chapter done like within that day. Like it's just constantly like it has to be done or I drive myself insane.
No, I'm the same way. And I don't know if I've just gotten really lucky with teachers like all of high school, but I really never have had too much homework in high school. I do have to study for tests and I obviously like get all my work done. But like I think some of it just comes from like, especially this year, I think have a ton more work than I had sophomore or freshman year. But because I'm willing to just like Lauren, I have 4 hard classes one day and 2 easy the next day, or I have journalism and science versus the other 4. But I think that those, like I have 2 days to catch up. I have 2 days to get it done, but I'm most of the time going to get it all done the first night. Like because I like to just get it out of the way and just focus on the next thing. And then if I have a test, I'll study the second night. But other than that, I really feel like the block scheduling has broken down my schedule in a way that it's manageable.
I think for me, block scheduling has been like a challenge because I do have an easy day and a hard day, and that's nice. But because it's just more balanced, I guess, or less balanced, but I have more time on certain days. But also I think because we have our classes every other day, it's been hard for me in subjects like math and chemistry to like reinforce the information that we're learning, because those are subjects that aren't as easy for me to begin with. So then having just less repetition on a daily basis has made it harder for me to like grasp the subject and just be really on top of it. And I think that's made me have to do more work to reinforce what we're learning outside of class. Like now I'll make an effort to do extra problems in the textbook just so that I have the practice that I'm not getting on a regular basis because I'm having the classes every other day. So I'm not a fan of block scheduling. I think it has its pros and cons, but I do feel like I miss the daily just reinforcement of work and material.
I will say that block scheduling, last year, it was the kind of thing that I would do it like do my work like the night before, kind of stress about it. But I will say like with block scheduling, I also have an easy day and a hard day. Like I have all my hard classes on one day and then slightly easier classes, like just 2 of them on the other. And I've kind of like told myself this year that because I was so stressed last year that like if I am assigned homework and now we have 2 days to do it because of block scheduling, that I'm just gonna do it the day I'm assigned. And that's definitely like it's still the whole deadline concept. Like now I'm just assigning myself a deadline, but just a day before. And so I think that's worked a lot better for me. So I will credit like block scheduling for that. Like I think that's been a lot less stressful than last year.
Yeah, and with the hour and a half periods, it's something last year that I felt like when we had hour and a half periods for like whatever reason, whether it was like right before midterms or I forget how we did it, but every once in a while we'd have block periods and I felt like they were the longest hour and a half of my life. And now I feel like it whizzes by like it's 45 minutes. And it's interesting because I took the PSAT a couple weeks ago and I found that like the PSAT whizzed by for me. Like there's something about, I feel like because I'm used to sitting in a classroom for an extended period of time from block scheduling, it's almost helped me like in those standardized tests with just like sitting and being focused for an extended period of time.
I feel that too. I mean, I think that like at first I also thought that block scheduling was going to be really hard to sit through like I don't know, an hour and a half of like math or physics or something, whatever it is. But I think like despite the fact that we are like losing time like in the schedule for teachers to teach the curriculum, I feel like some of my teachers have found it better that they're able to go into more detail about like the topic that they're teaching because they have more time. And they have more time to like teach that particular unit or something.
That also makes me wonder because we do have more time on like specific days, but we're technically not losing time or maybe a little bit, but we generally have like the same amount of time, just allotted differently. But also it makes me wonder if we're getting like I don't know, I guess the teachers have to teach all of the material. Like we can't just skip a topic because we're doing every other day instead of every day. But since, like you said, Imogen, I think teachers do go more deeply into certain topics and they'll explain those more. So then that makes me wonder, like, are we going to miss more of the information from this topic because we had so much time on this topic? Like, I guess I wonder about those things. And I think as long as I'm understanding what we are learning, it doesn't matter. But it just makes me wonder about whether or not we're getting all of the material that we should be because the time is so different this year, the way they're allotting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost the end of the period.
So are we wrapping this up, Caroline? You're over this?
Well, I have to go to Spanish. Yo hablo español.
Oh my
With
gosh.
Abigail.
Yes.
We're in the same class.
I love Spanish.
And we're not allowed to eat during class, so I have to go eat something really fast.
Honestly, yeah, that's one thing that's nice. Snacks in between classes, so much easier.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We'll wrap this
Thank
up.
you.
Bye.
Bye.